Under Smuts' rule by Bongi Ngulwanga, Jan Smuts and his impact on black South Africans. So this goes, Jan Smuts, if you don't know, then you definitely knew, yeah? Because I've been talking about Smuts so much this last time. He was the second Prime Minister of the Union of South Africa. He was instrumental in building the Union of South Africa and law enforcement. And this is very much about how he was, because this was, there's been written a lot about Jan Smuts, let's say that, there's been written a lot. But one of the aspects that really was not ever dealt in, they are books, but they are like tombs that delve into this. Most of the popular, more accessible reads about Jan Smuts did not often delve into his role as a leader in South Africa towards the black community of South Africa. First of all, just the writing style. Bongi Ngulwanga is a great writer. That should be said. He is just a great writer. It was so easy to read and really excited, and it was fun and exciting to read, but without it being ever where you feel like you're being unprofessional now. This is history. You can't just be flourishing like an animal. And then he was also never shy to he really went into depth into Smuts and the characters around him and the black leaders of that time and how everybody was thinking and how they were dealing with it, and how Smuts often avoided direct conversation with the black community. It went into some of the atrocities that happened during Smuts. Smuts was never, one thing as a leader he was never scared to instate martial law whenever something was going on that threatened in any way. And he was also never scared to let things be resolved, to use violence to resolve something quickly or permanently. And there was some really, the greatest, still the biggest mass killing in South Africa, that was done by the police. But happened under Smuts, the Bulhoek massacre. Bulhoek massacres on the air. I know a little bit about Bulhoek, but not much. It also delves into the round, but it's like, and he didn't just do this towards anybody. If there was the minor revolt, the minor what do you call it? It wasn't really a revolt. Well, it was kind of, there was a military. They did use guns and stuff. The protest, yeah, you can say protest. I will feel, you know what, I'm not even going to try and find the word. It's there. I will, if I remember it, I'll type it down below, or I'll get my idiotic editor to put it in. The editor is a damn fool. I don't like him, but yeah, fine. Really well written, and it really delves into the characters and how confusing and complicated, and how Smuts' views changed over time. Where he started as a staunch separatist, and where it went to he was against separatism, but he never always. It was interesting because he would employ people that would be even considered on the liberal side today to something, or at least centrist today, if not outright liberals. Yet he never got there. There were people that wanted to give at least some form of franchise and some form of voting to the native community into South Africa. Smuts never agreed to that. Never, not even did. But yet he hired the guy. The guy he was hiring to follow him up did believe that, and he wanted to do that. And Smuts knew he wanted to. So did Smuts actually believe that, or he just didn't want to do it then, or what was? It's kind of this and it really delves into how complicated and difficult and interesting these characters was. Their strengths, their weaknesses. And just how different they saw that time period, and how even those Smuts, it's hard to say. You would really have to strain to say he was a friend to black South Africans of the time, and yet still after his passing, they did mourn him, and they did think, because he was kind of, even though you would never call him a friend. He was kind of somebody, they kind of saw him as the devil, the devil you can work with. because the other guys were so much worse. They were actually, there's still like Smith is one of those complicated that nobody quite knows how to put him in history, because he did exceptional stuff. He did insane stuff. And then this one thing that they were like, it was always like, maybe you should have pushed it, maybe, but then it's also like, was it possible? Was it really possible? Seeing as how the other side of politics were going, was Smith just trying to do his all that to lose control? And in any case, the National Party won, and so fascinating and interesting, and seeing who agrees with what and all this. A complicated guy, and even the black leaders, and how fascinating to learn about them, because there's like people like that I really did not know a lot about. Like Saul Plaatjes, I've known a little bit about it, went deeper into him. A.B. Zuma, I did not know anything about before this book. I didn't. And learning about him and who he was and what his role was, and fascinating. Really just well done. And Bongi never likes to make it, he's never going to try and give you an answer and make it easy. No, he said, let me show you how complicated and confusing it is, and that it's hard, and this is the sources we work with, and it's hard to know exactly what to make of any of these things, but it was people were complicated, confusing, and it's almost like a very interesting character studies, with Smith being the major character study. Like, why did he say that? Why, what, and how he changed. It's like a strange, it feels almost at times, even though it almost feels at times like a fictional story with a character arc and seeing how it goes. Really, really interesting. Now, I will recommend this book. This is still the best book I've read on John Smith. I will say this. And this is, yeah, especially if it just focuses on John Smith. Really pick this up. If you want to learn more about like early South Africa, Union of South Africa stuff, and what it was like there, and even for everybody, because this has a good show of showing how the lives were for everybody in South Africa. Really great. And all the strange power dynamics and weird stuff that was going on, and policies, crazy policies. No, if you want to know about early South Africa, this is one of the best. Early Union of South Africa stuff. This is, I will say, this is the best book I've read on that subject. And the fact they focus around Smith, who was such a pivotal character in that, great.